Hey everyone, Jared here. I'm the backpacking liaison for our Coda Adventure Challenge coming up. And I want to give you guys some tips that kind of will help you get started with this. I've started about 7 years ago and I've learned a lot of things in my backpacking experience that I'll kind of go over with. The main thing I want to go over is very first thing is try out your equipment before we actually go into the backcountry. Okay, so when you're nervous and you're tired and you've hiked for a while and it turns out it got dark, you didn't know it was going to get dark, and you got to try to set up your tent and cook and all that in the dark, it's good to have tried it all out in the daytime in your backyard on your own time where you're not in a hurry or not in a rush. Okay, this is exciting. Let me go over some of the things that I've done in the past, from my cheap to expensive, what you kind of need and what you really don't need. Okay. Okay, first of all, I want to go over what they call the big three. The big three is your shelter, your backpack, and then your sleep system. So this was my first little shelter tent that I got, and it was a $100 one on Amazon. And you can see this is a true one-person tent. I do have a Rainfly. I just didn't put it on today. So this is what I started with. I was all over the place with this. I spent some time on top of the Continental Divide at 12,000 feet elevation. And this has been at the Grand Canyon. It's been at the Maroon Bells, Four Pass Loop, and many nights in the Ouachita Mountains in southeastern Oklahoma. So I first started off with just this mat right here, just one of those foam mats, and it was good. Sometimes you don't get the best sleep. I always started with a little pillow, and this was just a synthetic, cheapish sleeping bag. And it really was all I needed to get started, and I wanted to try this first to see if this was something I was actually gonna like. And there is my Osprey backpack that I got on Facebook Marketplace used, and it's been perfect for me. So then I wanted to try to go up a little bit. So this was my next shelter here. So this is what you would call it, a two-person tent, but it's really just a perfect one-person tent. It's got room. I can put some of my stuff in there, plenty of clothes, plenty of room for me to move around. And this was a big Agnes, so it cost maybe about $300, a little bit lighter, plus it was also more room, but it was also a little bit lighter. And here is my newest backpack. It's a Z-Packs. It's a little more expensive, we'll say, but it's really light. It's weighs a pound, and it's not quite waterproof, but kind of waterproof. I'll have a cover on it if I have to. And then here is my next level. So I've tried to start to kind of get into ultralight backpacking. So this is just a tarp, and it uses my trekking poles, which I'm already going to have my trekking poles, so it's kind of nice to use my trekking poles. So the weather has to be pretty nice for this. I'm not going to go out in the wintertime in this. This is my sleep system for both of my big Agnes tent and for my tarp. I have a blow up now, little pillow, and that is a down quilt, that purple thing in there, which I can make into a sleeping bag, or I can lay it out if it's not too hot and it can just be a quilt. I also have this little backpack now, which is kind of almost a trail running backpack, and it's maybe 10 ounces or so, but I can't get a lot in there. This is maybe a 2-night trip that I've got to get. I'm going to go fast, might even run a little bit, but most of the time I'm in this guy right here. This has done a lot of nights on the trail for me, and it's held up nice. It's very important. You've hiked all day long, you're very tired, you're hungry, and you want something that's going to taste reasonably good to you. Okay, so this little stove right here is called a BSR stove. This little guy right here, it was like $20 on Amazon. Probably one of the best things I've ever bought, especially for the price. Okay, so this is all I need right here to cook everything that I'm going to cook in the backcountry. I have this little pot. This is the first one I started with. So usually I would get it going, get my food boiling, get everything going, and then I'd put it in this little cozy that I made. So that way I don't have to use all my fuel. Now I really don't worry about the fuel. I'm not out there long enough. So I got a little bit bigger pot now. And this guy can cook the whole bag that I'll show you. Also have a strainer, that way I can strain it and it's a little easier to cook. So a lot of people, which I think is awesome, they will use these guys, these type of things here, these Mountain House and these adventure meals. And there's also some healthy ones that they've made now. For $10 about a piece, I've kind of, I don't know, they kind of didn't feel real good on my stomach, so I kind of try to eat what I normally eat-ish from the house. So another option, what's good about these, you just put the water straight in it and it sits there and cooks while you're doing other things around camp, which is pretty awesome. This north side, they're like $1 from Walmart. They're not quite as many calories, but they can also open it up and pour it right in here, and it's the same as this that people don't know, but it's the same. They have rice and they have all kinds of noodles and all that kind of jazz. Just boil your water and put it right in there and you're good to go. What I usually do is just macaroni and cheese, and I'll just buy the Kraft macaroni and cheese, put them in Ziploc bags. I'll boil my water. I'll just put my noodles in there. When it gets hot, I feel like it's done, I strain it, and then I just put my cheese sauce and just eat it right out of here. I might sometimes get some bacon bits and put in there with it. So that's kind of what I usually eat at night. I'll do the same thing with oatmeal in the morning. That's good. Kind of when I'm at lunch and stuff like that, I'll just have some summer sausage, some crackers, and then some hard cheeses. I'll find a hard cheese I know that won't need to be refrigerated, and that's a real good snack while I'm waiting for my food to cook or during lunch, that kind of stuff. Okay, so food storage. I know this is something you don't really think about, but we have to have our food safe in the backcountry. Where we're going in the Ouachita Mountains, there might be some black bears. I've been out there for many nights. I've never actually seen one, but I've usually are prepared just in case one does come around. So this is my first Dyneema, which is not bear proof at all, but most of the time this is what I use because it's light. I can put all my food in this one bag, and then I'll cook. Sometimes I'll cook away from camp and then make camp. Most of the time I'll just cook at camp, and then I'll tie this up to a tree, 100 yards away from my tent. I try not to have any food inside my tent. So this is one option. I've gone to a few places where I've had to actually have a bear canister, and then you'll put this way away from your campsite, and when you're cooking you can sit on it, so it's kind of nice. It's hard to fit into your backpack. That's the main thing with this I don't love. And then this is a bear bag is what they call it, and it's really hard for the bear to get through this material. So probably most of the time I'll use this guy if I'm anywhere that might have a chance of having bears or rodents or something that could get into my food, and I'll tie this up away from the campsite as well. You don't need to pack as much food as you think. You're not really hungry as much as you think you're going to be. I'll do like a lot of snacks, M&Ms, Snickers, gummy bears, stuff that's not going to melt in my pocket. That's the main thing. You want to get stuff that you think you're going to like, because you might not have, something might not taste good to you when you're actually out there. This is one of those things you kind of need to practice. The first night you're not super hungry. The second night you're really usually hungry, and the third night then you'll eat just about anything that you can find. But this is one of the other things to practice is the food you're going to eat in the backcountry. Okay, some odds and ends on things that you need to be comfortable out there and safe. First, water. This is a Be Free Katadyn Be Free filter.
This is what I use most of the time right here, just right out of the stream. Drink it right out of here, or I'll fill up my Smart Water bottle or Gatorade bottle, whichever one I plan on using. I'll have one bottle with electrolytes and one bottle I'll just drink water out of. I don't ever mess with the bladder unless it's just super hot. If it's super hot, I'm usually not backpacking anywhere. Okay, water is done. This is the GPS device. In case something crazy happens and I need to get taken out, this is what I can call to have a helicopter and get me if all else fails, which has happened a lot to people. Luckily, I've been pretty safe out there, but I have this just in case. It's pretty awesome that I can text my family, my wife, when I've texted her at the bottom of the Grand Canyon when there's no reception anywhere to be found. So it's nice to be able to get a hold of people that are worried about you at home. There's a few different kind of devices. I'll have this, and you won't have to have it if you're going with me, but if you're going somewhere, it's worth it just for the peace of mind. Something I do just to see is I'll have a thermometer I like to keep in my tent just to see how hot or cold it is. This is something you don't have to have, but I like to kind of use it. If it's like 20 degrees and I'm miserable, I know next time at 20 degrees I need to do a little better packing and getting more warmer stuff. That's kind of, I just like to see what the temperature is. Another thing you don't have to have, but it's kind of nice, this is just a sit pad. If you're out there, you got to sit on the rock or sit on the ground while you're cooking or just hanging out. It's nice having this. Another one of the things you do not have to have though. Stuff sacks. How I keep my clothes and everything, socks, everything I need to keep dry, I keep in here, my electronics, all that sort of stuff. So this is a Dyneema. They're not super expensive, but they're just super duper light, and they are waterproof. These are compression bags. They're also waterproof, and I've been just used different ways. Most of the time, I just use these bags from now on. It seems like sometimes I'll put my clothes into this guy. Speaking of clothes, I'll have extra pair of socks that I'll sleep in, maybe an extra pair to go if I'm out there a long time to hike in. I'll have gaiter for my neck, sometimes a beanie, puffy, rain pants, rain jacket. I'll have gaiters for my feet. I'll have a button-up shirt. I've noticed that if it gets hot, instead of taking my shirt off, I can keep my backpack on and just unbutton it, and it helps to get the air through there. I usually wear long pants and long sleeve shirts too, just to keep the sun off and the bugs off and all that jazz. I will not wear hiking boots or hiking shoes, just trail running shoes. I started with that. I did a lot of research, and people that said right off the bat, don't go hiking because the blisters will run your trip more than anything is getting blisters 2 miles in with these big heavy hiking boots. Trail running shoes are perfect, and it's really all that you need. Where we're going to is a little bit rocky, so maybe some high top trail running shoes would be good, but no big hiking boots, no blisters. If you're going with me, no blisters are allowed. What I do also is I'll Vaseline my toes and my feet before I put my socks on, and that's helped me also to not get blisters. Okay, what's next? Toiletry kit. You gotta poop out there, so you have to have a toiletry kit. I'll have my wipes, I'll have some toilet paper, I'll dig a hole. Sometimes I'll pack out the toilet paper, sometimes I won't. They say you're supposed to, but it's kind of icky. But I have this to dig a hole with, or I'll just get a rock, move a rock, and then put the rock back on top of whatever happens. All right, so also bring wipes to take care of your body in the tent too. I'll have like some wipes for the bathroom, then I'll have like some bigger wipes for my body. I know a lot of these little videos don't talk about that, but I didn't have any idea when I first started what I was supposed to do. So hopefully now you do have an idea. Okay, bugs. There's a spray called permethrin, and just go to Walmart, get it, and I'll spray everything. My tent, I'll set my tent up, I'll spray it, my clothes, my socks, my backpack, my hat, my shoes, everything, and that keeps the ticks and the bugs off. Next, you'll need some some soap. I have some biodegradable soap that I'll probably take out there with me. I kind of, and so just some, just some stuff for my hands, antibacterial for my hands. I'll have a little deal of that. For this trip, if you're going to go with me, we're going to go to southeastern Oklahoma. I'm going to have two options. You can go the full loop with me, which we'll do over 2 nights, or we can go just do the first night, go to where we decide to camp, spend the night, and then go back to your car and drive home. Just spending 1 night in the woods counts. If you want to do the whole adventure with me, you can do the whole adventure with me. I'm getting excited.